People with a poor mindset don't know they have one. They think it's circumstance. They think it's bad luck. They think the system is against them, and sometimes it is. But sometimes the biggest obstacle isn't the economy or the government or the market. It's a set of invisible beliefs running in the background that are sabotaging every financial decision before it's even made. Today, we name them.
This video is not an attack. It's a mirror, and the most honest thing I can tell you is that I recognized almost every one of these signs in myself before I recognized them as problems. A poor mindset isn't a character flaw. It's a program, one that was installed early, usually by people who had it installed in them too. The good news is that programs can be updated, but first, you have to see them clearly. Welcome to Rich Behavior. Let's get into it.
The clearest sign of a scarcity mindset isn't what you spend, it's how you feel when you spend. If every purchase comes with anxiety, if checking your bank balance feels like a threat, if you fundamentally believe there is a fixed amount of money available to you and you are always on the edge of not having enough, that belief is costing you more than you know. Because when you believe money is scarce, you make desperate decisions. You take the job with the guaranteed salary over the opportunity with upside. You stay in the safe lane. You undercharge for your work because you are afraid that asking for more will mean getting nothing. Scarcity thinking doesn't just make you anxious, it makes you financially smaller than you actually are.
Look at what gets celebrated in your circle. A new car, a new phone, new sneakers, a night out at an expensive restaurant. None of those things are wrong on their own, but if the thing that gets the most applause in your world is spending, and the thing that gets the least attention is building, that's a cultural poor mindset, and it runs deep. The wealthy don't celebrate consumption. They celebrate creation. A new revenue stream, a paid-off asset, a business that turned profitable. The metric is different, and the metric shapes the behavior. Look at what gets celebrated in your circle. A new car, a new phone, new sneakers, a night out at an expensive restaurant. None of those things are wrong on their own, but if the thing that gets the most applause in your world is spending, and the thing that gets the least attention is building, that's a cultural poor mindset, and it runs deep. The wealthy don't celebrate consumption. They celebrate creation. A new revenue stream, a paid-off asset, a business that turned profitable. The metric is different, and the metric shapes the behavior.
There is a version of financial safety that is actually a trap. It looks like a stable job, a monthly salary, a predictable life. And there is nothing wrong with any of those things as a foundation. The problem is when they become the ceiling, when the goal is simply to keep receiving the salary, not to build something that pays you when you stop working. Trading time for money is not inherently bad. Trading time for money with no plan to ever stop is the sign. If today's income completely stops tomorrow, how long can you survive? Most people, if they are honest, cannot answer that question comfortably. That discomfort is data.
In a lot of South African households, money is not a conversation. It's a secret. You don't ask what someone earns. You don't negotiate your salary out loud. You don't talk about your debt or your savings or your investments because that is private or embarrassing or just not done. And that silence is expensive. People who are comfortable talking about money, negotiating, asking questions, comparing notes with peers, consistently earn and keep more than people who treat money as a forbidden topic. The discomfort you feel discussing your finances is directly proportional to how much power money has over you.
This is the deepest one. The belief that wealth is something that happens to certain kinds of people, and you are not one of them. It shows up as, I'm not good with money. Rich people are just lucky. Where I come from, people don't end up like that. Every single one of those statements is a decision disguised as a fact. And the moment you accept them as facts, you stop looking for evidence that contradicts them, and you start finding evidence that confirms them. The brain finds what it looks for. If you are looking for proof that wealth is not available to you, you will find it every single day.
Recognizing these signs is not the same as being stuck with them. Every one of these patterns was learned, which means every one of them can be unlearned. But unlearning requires honesty first. If one of these signs landed differently than the others, if one made you pause or feel something, that is probably the one to sit with. The gap between a poor mindset and a wealthy one is not intelligence. It is not opportunity. It is awareness followed by a decision. Subscribe and share this with one person who needs to hear it, because sometimes the most valuable thing you can give someone has nothing to do with money.